Unhappily, human rights and international law are always the first casualty of wars or military coups. Since I am here in Brussels, I don't know how many military coups I've been witnessing. In some parts of the world, it's a domino effect. One country starts and then all others follow. I am thinking on the Sahel area, which is leaking to the Gulf of Guinea. Who remembers what's happening in Kabul? Afghanistan has disappeared of the media. In Afghanistan, you have a gender apartheid. I think this is a good way of calling what's happening there, a gender apartheid. Not by the color of the skin, but by gender. Women and girls are deprived from going to the school, and an awful dictatorship is ruling the country. What's happening in Tigray? Hundreds of thousands of people have died on the civil wars inside Ethiopia. First with the Tigray, after with Amhara. What's happening in Sudan, where at least 3 law wars are fighting against each other just to try to keep power. And each one of them being supported by some of the neighbours. One neighbour supports one, other neighbour supports other. And do you remember Darfur? Well, Darfur, the awful crisis in Darfur is coming back. And there are hundreds of thousands of people, refugees, flying from Sudan war and going to neighborhood Chad or Ethiopia. Or look at what's happening in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where we tried to send an electoral observation mission. In fact, they were there. And they had to withdraw this mission because the conditions were not met in order to deploy these people in a meaningful way. They were there, more than 50 members, some of them members of the European Parliament, and unhappily had to withdraw because the conditions to hold this observation mission were not met. Or in Myanmar, or in Syria. And today, the terrible developments that continue unfolding in Israel and Palestine started with this terrorist attack that killed 102,000 people, in 200 hostages, certainly an act of terror against civilians, defenseless. And then we have witnessed what, this was a carnage. But what we are witnessing in Gaza is another carnage. How many victims? We don't know. Nobody knows. Someone estimates it's about 15,000, but I'm afraid that below the rubble of the houses destroyed, it must be many more, with a high number of children. So, sorry?
People are leaving the room. Keep on going.
People are leaving the room?
Yes.
Why? Maybe I said some inconvenience, but the United Nations has clearly said that what's happening in one case was a carnage, and what's happening in Gaza is another one. It's another one because one cannot accept this high number of civilian casualties. Even obviously, Israel has to defend itself.